Women in sport started for me with rugby league.
We are underway for the first ever NRLW Grand Final.
And a lot of people find that unusual, that with a game of football, that in those days women could be as big on television, on the field, as male players. So it started as, how are women invisible?
Ariarne terminates her competition.
I think it's been a long time coming. I just feel so incredibly privileged and proud to be a part of this time in Australian sport, and I think in 10, 20, 30 years to come we're going to look back on this time where women really dominated.
1:45.99, that's a new Paralympic record for Madison de Rozario.
I think it's a huge turning point for women in sport. I think we've begun to invest in women's sport far more, and we've very quickly seen the results of that. And what we've seen with women's sport is that shift from expectation and demand for results despite under-resourcing to suddenly this belief in our women athletes that we've always been capable of doing. But now that there's this enormous belief around the country, it's been an enormous shift in the last 12 months, 2 years, and what we saw in Paris Olympics is the result of that. It's our belief in our women athletes, and they've delivered.
Working with rugby league, we started Women in League, and it very quickly went into all the other codes. Everyone realised that here you had elite athletes that were as good as the men and were not being given the same respect. It was pretty obvious to me that all of these different sporting codes bringing their women through couldn't grow.
I'm very lucky that I've been in a sport where it's been quite equal for men and women. I haven't really been exposed to gender disparity and inequality in sport, but I think definitely in this country and around the world, women are now having the same equal rights as men to participate in sport, not just to have fun, but at a high performance level, they're taken seriously just like men are, and I think that's really important, and it goes to show that on the world stage we can perform as well as men can, we can entertain just as much, and I feel like it's pretty great the world's heading in that way.
I think there's been so much belief in women's sport recently, and one of the things that I've found over my career is there's this fear of disappointing the people that support you, and there's also this enormous fear of disappointing or proving right to the people that never fully believed in you.
If you look at the statistics today, the growth participation in young girls, right, from 10 to 15 is just extraordinary. The number of referees, the number of coaches, but it's everyone that's involved with the game, and that makes a game. We're all welcome. It doesn't matter what level you are, and you can decide what part of the game you want to be involved with.
When I first kind of came onto the scene 8 years ago, I think maybe the interest in swimming was lost a little bit, but I think in the past 3 to 4 years the country is getting around the swim team, not just in an Olympic year, but in the years prior.
I think there is just so much more love for the Paralympic Games than there ever has been. I think as athletes we're turning up exactly the same as we always had, and I think one of the very wonderful things at Racing for Australia is I know how much love there is for Paralympic sport, and as you go over that, I think the minute you pull on the green and gold, I feel like you bring all of Australia with you in that moment, and having raced in front of it, you know, during my career, you know what that kind of feels like to have that Australian support.
So I decided I'd become a surveyor. And I think about, why did I want to become a surveyor? I think it was because it was such a blokey job. So I applied for that with the government, and they said, no, women aren't welcome. It's only for men. But, you know, you have these little things in your life that put you on a course and in my case, the road it put me on was always making sure that women had an opportunity.
I felt a lot of pressure to perform for our country, not just for myself, and I feel like the weight has been lifted. I don't know how to describe it, but it's a bliss feeling. It's a mind-numbing feeling knowing that I don't have to strive for anything in the near future. I definitely went there and achieved some things that I set out to do. I think defending my 400 freestyle title was a big goal for me, and I felt like a lot of people were willing and wanting me to win, so I felt very proud to do that for Australia.
I definitely used to race with a lot of external pressure. I think I raced with a lot of fear. I was fearful of a bad result, and I was just constantly trying to avoid that negative outcome. And it's not the healthiest way to, I think, be motivated. And as I've gotten older, I've switched towards trying to run towards something, and I want those positive results, and I want that success, and I also want to become a person that's capable of achieving the goals that I set.
The first thing I went to was the 400 metre with Ariarne. And to see her so effortlessly, right, win the 400 metre, it was a powerful moment. And to know this wonderful young woman and how hard she'd worked, and it just brings home to me why we keep supporting what we're doing with sport.
It's nice to have the backing of one of Australia's most powerful women. It's a calming feeling, I think. It's been really nice to start up my relationship with Katie, obviously professionally with a partnership with Harvey Norman, but personally getting to know Katie has been really special, and I feel her genuine support, and I look up to her. For her to be such a powerhouse in the business world as a woman is very striking, and I think she's someone that lots of young women should look up to.
I keep telling people there's no blueprint, there's no one way to support women, to support girls, to do what you want to do, but make sure you do something. And so that's what I do. But it's my way.